What if I told you that a child's brain is being shaped long before they ever step into a classroom? Before the lessons, before the alphabet, before the first word, a powerful story is already being written inside their mind. Science tells us something extraordinary. The brain isn't born finished. It's built, moment by moment, connection by connection. But what exactly shapes it? Is it genes, parenting, school, or something much deeper? A child's brain begins forming just weeks after conception. By the time they're born, they already have about 100 billion neurons, tiny nerve cells that control everything from movement to emotions. But here's the fascinating part. At birth, most of these neurons aren't connected yet. Think of it like a city with millions of roads but no bridges. Every single experience a baby has, every touch, every sound, every smile starts building those bridges. These bridges are called synapses, and they're the foundation of how a child learns, feels, and responds to the world. In the first few years of life, more than 1 million new neural connections form every second. That's why early experiences are so powerful. They don't just influence the brain, they literally build it. Now, you might think what builds the strongest brain are expensive toys, fancy gadgets, or high-end schools. But science says otherwise. The strongest brain connections are built through relationships. When a caregiver responds to a baby's cry, smiles, sings, or makes eye contact, the baby's brain releases oxytocin, the love hormone. This chemical helps the brain form pathways linked to trust, emotional control, and learning. That warm hug or gentle voice isn't just comforting, it's wiring the brain for resilience. But when a child faces neglect or constant stress, the opposite happens. Their brain floods with cortisol, the stress hormone. Over time, this can damage connections in the areas that control memory and emotion. A child raised in fear learns to survive. This is why scientists call the early years the critical window, a time when the brain is most flexible, most sensitive, and most shaped by love and care. Every experience a child has, good or bad, leaves an imprint on their brain. When a toddler stacks blocks, listens to a story, or runs through the rain, their brain is forming circuits for focus, coordination, and creativity. The brain is always asking, what do I need to know to survive and succeed in this world? If the environment is rich with warmth, play, and language, the brain builds pathways for curiosity and intelligence. But if the environment is filled with fear, chaos, or neglect, the brain prioritizes survival, not growth. That's why nurturing relationships and safe environments are not luxuries. They are biological necessities. Now, let's talk about emotions. Emotions aren't just feelings. They are the brain's first teachers. When a child feels safe and loved, their brain releases dopamine, the chemical that fuels learning and motivation. They explore, question, and create, but when fear or anger dominates, the brain switches into survival mode. In survival mode, the brain's focus shifts away from curiosity and onto protection. That's why a child who's constantly anxious might struggle to focus in class. It's not laziness, it's biology. A calm, loving environment helps strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for reasoning, empathy, and self-control. Simply put, love helps children think better. Now, let's look at one of the most powerful tools for shaping the brain, play. Play is not just fun. It's how children experiment, solve problems, and imagine possibilities. When a child builds with blocks, pretends to be a superhero, or draws their world, they're developing executive functions, focus, flexibility, and self-regulation. Play is the brain's favorite way to learn. Through play, children practice decision-making, test limits, and learn how to cooperate with others. It's in these moments that neurons fire and wire together, forming the circuits for creativity, resilience, and emotional strength. And then there's language. Language is more than words, it's the foundation of thought. Every time a parent reads a story, sings a lullaby, or has a conversation, they're building the brain's language and literacy centers. Research shows that children who are spoken to frequently, with warmth and variety, develop stronger vocabularies, better memory, and higher academic success later in life. So, that bedtime story, it's not just bonding, it's brain building. But not all children grow up in ideal conditions. What happens to the brain when a child faces stress, trauma, or poverty? Chronic stress can alter the brain's structure, especially in areas like the hippocampus, the center for memory and learning. However, there's hope. The brain is remarkably adaptive. Through neuroplasticity, it can reorganize and form new pathways throughout life. With stability, care, and positive experiences, the brain can heal. Even one loving, consistent adult can change the trajectory of a child's development. In fact, research shows that children who have at least one caring adult in their lives, a parent, teacher, or mentor, are far more likely to succeed despite early hardship. It's proof that love and connection are powerful antidotes to adversity. And while parents play a key role, they're not alone. Communities shape brains too. Safe neighborhoods, quality childcare, supportive schools, and good healthcare all make a difference. When a society invests in its children through nutrition, play spaces, education, and emotional support, it's not just building better individuals, it's building a better future. Early childhood programs that combine love, learning, and nutrition have been shown to increase school success, improve health, and even boost lifetime earnings. It's simple. Nurturing children is the smartest investment any nation can make. So, what shapes a child's brain? Not just genes, not just books, but every smile, every word, every moment of connection. The brain is sculpted by relationships, wired by love, strengthened by play, and guided by emotion. Every child's brain is a living story, one written by caregivers, teachers, communities, and environments. And the most beautiful part, that story can always be rewritten. Because love builds brains, connection grows intelligence, and every small act of care shapes the adults our children will become. So, the next time you talk, play, or simply listen to a child, remember, you're not just passing time. You're shaping a brain. You're shaping the future. What shapes a child's brain? We do. Every parent, every teacher, every kind soul. Because when we nurture children, we build the future of humanity. Thanks for watching, and if you found this valuable, please like and subscribe for more.